Hi guys and welcome to my channel. Today's video will be the 5th episode to my art mysteries series. We're going to be exploring the turbulent life of Vincent van Gogh, who is considered to be one of the most tragic but also iconic post-impressionist artists from the 19th century. Van Gogh is known for his masterful painting of the Starry Night, his countless self-portraits, and many other beautiful artworks. He is also known for his persistent battle with depression, psychosis, and multiple other mental illnesses, which caused him to take his own life in the end. If you're not in the right headspace for a video like this one, I recommend checking out my previous Art Mysteries episode where I looked into the biggest art heist in recent US history. The link is in the iCard above. In this video, however, we will be going over Vincent van Gogh's life and legacy. Before we get started though, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Skillshare. As you've heard me mention before on this channel, Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands of inspiring classes that range anywhere from painting to illustration to photography. Discover new skills by checking out their huge catalog of classes that include video lessons and class projects. Join fun workshops and learn with the support of your fellow students and teacher. You can choose classes that fit your schedule and skill level, and most classes are less than 1 hour long so you can learn in a time-effective manner. I'm currently taking the class Acrylic Painting Learn the Basics for Beginners by teacher Laurie Ann Gonzalez, and it's been super useful, especially since I'm new to using acrylics. Another cool thing is that I'm actually a teacher on Skillshare as well, and I have 3 classes up from portrait drawing to anatomy. I'm planning on creating new classes soon too, so stay tuned for that. Skillshare is really affordable with their membership being less than $10 a month, so I highly recommend trying it. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get 1 month free trial of Skillshare so you can start exploring your creativity today. Thank you again Skillshare for sponsoring this video. As you can probably guess by now, this video will be going over very sensitive topics, so please proceed with caution. Viewer discretion is advised. Quote, "I put my heart and soul into my work, and I have lost my mind in the process," by Vincent William van Gogh. Van Gogh is somewhat of a household name, with many knowing him as one of the greatest artists that lived in the 19th century. He is also known for his mental health struggles as well as his unfortunate death. I personally knew him as the artist who painted the iconic piece called The Starry Night, but after looking into his life a bit more closely, I discovered that Vincent van Gogh was a deeply troubled man with struggles that I'm sure many can relate with. So who really is Van Gogh? Well, Vincent Willem van Gogh was born in March of 1853 to relatively wealthy Dutch parents in the Netherlands. He had 2 brothers and 3 sisters, though in his later years he only kept in touch with his little brother Theo and his sister Wilhelmina. In his early childhood, Van Gogh was homeschooled by his mother, who encouraged him to be creative and take up drawing. He was later sent to a boarding school, which caused him to be extremely unhappy due to feeling of abandonment. According to himself, he was unable to live his youth to the fullest, and has described it as both cold and sterile. In his 20s, Van Gogh went on to work for an esteemed art dealership thanks to his family's connections. While working in London, Van Gogh fell in love with his landlady's daughter, who was, according to many sources, already taken. After confessing love to her, he was promptly rejected, which caused him to withdraw from society and turn to religion for comfort. From this point onwards, Van Gogh was riddled with hardships and failures. He lost the position he held at the art dealership and failed to land a job or a study place on multiple occasions. He was unable to really hold on to any of the opportunities he was provided with. He's gone on record to say, and I quote, "I'm such a nobody," end quote. The constant failures caused Van Gogh to heavily rely on religion to get through it all, which is why he became more pious and conservative. He got increasingly interested in becoming a religious leader, and once he finally secured a position as a minister in Belgium, Van Gogh gave up his comfortable living arrangements to a random homeless person and moved into the streets to live in rough and unsanitary conditions. This was his way of helping those that were impoverished, but the church authorities didn't really think this was a good idea, as they quickly fired him for, quote, "undermining the dignity of the priesthood," end quote. This caused Van Gogh to sink deeper into depression and self-isolation. He went on to say, "They think I'm a madman," he told an acquaintance, "because I wanted to be a true Christian. They turned me out like a dog and said that I was causing a scandal." After his failed attempt at being a religious leader, Van Gogh moved back with his parents, who grew ever more concerned with his erratic behaviors and inability to take care of himself. They pleaded with him to go to a mental asylum, but Van Gogh refused. It was at the age of 27 that Van Gogh decided to devote his life to becoming an artist. He worked as an artist for 10 years, creating over 2,000 works before his unfortunate death. Quote, "In spite of everything, I shall rise again. I will take up my pencil which I have forsaken in my great discouragement, and I will go on with my drawing." Quote by Vincent van Gogh. Van Gogh moved from place to place thanks to the consistent financial support he got from his brother Theo. In exchange for the monthly allowances, Van Gogh would send paintings to his brother for sale. At this time, Van Gogh started taking his art more seriously, and he produced many of his darker pieces of the working class. Quote, "Though I am often in depths of misery, there is still calmness, pure harmony, and music inside me. I see paintings or drawings in the poorest cottages, in the dirtiest corners, and my mind is driven towards these things with an irresistible momentum." End quote. The unfortunate part was that these paintings would not sell, at least in his lifetime, due to soft and colorful impressionist paintings from the likes of Monet being in style at the time. This inspired Van Gogh to broaden his color palette and hone his craft towards more vibrant colors. Van Gogh considered himself a failure in life due to not being able to sell any of his paintings and his inability to socialize and form meaningful connections. His depression grew more and more, leading him on a self-destructive path of alcoholism. Quote, "I can't change the fact that my paintings won't sell, but the time will come when people will recognize that they are worth more than the value of the paints used in the picture." End quote. In March of 1885, Van Gogh's father passed away from a heart attack, which caused Van Gogh to turn to painting for his comfort. Van Gogh created over 200 oil paintings in this time of grief, and his mental and physical health deteriorated even further. A quote by Van Gogh says, "Art is to console those who are broken by life." This led Van Gogh to move to Paris, where he further isolated himself in order to create more artworks. Though he was financially supported by his brother Theo, Van Gogh would use most of his funds to buy art supplies, tobacco, alcohol, and models for his work. It's been reported that he would also eat paint and drink turpentine in order to either take his own life or due to his inability to get proper food for himself. Van Gogh decided to move to a different city in France called Arles, where he went on to paint over 200 paintings, many of which he is known for today. He planned on creating an artist collective in this new city and invited his friend and fellow painter Paul Gauguin to join in this endeavor. Gauguin of course accepted this offer, but quickly found living with Van Gogh unbearable. When Van Gogh suspected Gauguin of leaving, he suffered a mental breakdown and while in a state of mania, charged at Gauguin with a razor. Gauguin was unhurt and successfully fled the scene, but Van Gogh in his unstable state started hearing voices which led to him cutting his own ear off with the razor. He then delivered this severed ear to a courtesan that worked in the nearby brothel that him and Gauguin used to frequent. Van Gogh was discovered unconscious the next morning by the police, and his wounds were treated at the hospital. The ear was delivered to the hospital as well, but was not attached back, due to too much time passing. After this explosive episode, Van Gogh was never the same again, as he kept hearing voices and believed that he was being poisoned by those around him. He became more erratic and incoherent, which frightened some of his neighbors. Quote, "A great fire burns within me, but no one stops to warm themselves at it, and passers-by only see a wisp of smoke." Quote by Vincent van Gogh. Historians believe that Van Gogh was suffering from schizophrenia along with bipolar disorder, but I want to remind you that this is just speculation. Many of his neighbors started calling him the quote, "the red-headed madman," end quote, and they petitioned Van Gogh to be removed from their community. Devastated by this petition, Van Gogh went on to say, quote, "I have never done anyone harm at any rate, and I'm not a danger to anyone," end quote. Shortly after, he admitted himself to the mental asylum called Saint Remy, where he continued getting treated for psychosis and self-destructive behaviors. It's in this mental asylum that Van Gogh created his most well-known paintings, such as The Starry Night. He painted it while looking into the beautiful sky from the asylum window. Quote, "I don't know anything with certainty, but seeing the stars makes me dream. I dream my paintings and I paint my dreams," end quote. Van Gogh fell deeper into depression, especially after hearing that his brother Theo got married and was expecting a baby, due to the fear of being abandoned by his brother. This fear subsided for a short time though when he heard that the baby was named after Vincent van Gogh himself. He created this beautiful piece in honor of his new nephew. During his stay at the asylum, Van Gogh created over 150 paintings. He was given an extra room to paint in, though he had to be restricted or monitored at times due to his unstable mental state. After Van Gogh was released from the asylum, he moved into a village near Paris and continued to paint and live there. His brother Theo was okay with this due to Van Gogh moving next to a doctor that promised to look after him. This, however, didn't stop Van Gogh from losing his battle with depression. Van Gogh believed that he had become a burden to his brother, who was now married and a father, taking care of his own family, which is why he decided to take his own life. On the 27th of July, 1890, Van Gogh shot himself in the chest with a pistol he had taken from his neighbors. He died 2 days later at the age of 37 in the arms of his brother Theo, who was distraught and devastated by the loss of his brother. It is said that Van Gogh's last words were, "The sadness will last forever," end quote. And this turned out to be true for Theo, whose health deteriorated immensely and died shortly after his brother. The recently widowed wife of Theo, called Johanna, took on the job of collecting all of Vincent's paintings that she could find. She knew it was her husband's last wish to see his brother Vincent's art do well, which is why she collected and organized all of the letters Vincent and Theo had sent to each other that could be found. She then published them in a book, which sparked interest in the public for Vincent van Gogh and his art. By the 20th century, Vincent van Gogh's art had become one of the most appreciated and sought-after paintings of their time. Even now, Van Gogh is seen as a highly respected legend that, despite of his struggles, continued to persistently create artworks and paintings. A museum was opened in honor of Vincent van Gogh and his legacy in the Netherlands, and his artworks continue to touch the hearts of those that see them. Quote, "If I am worth anything later, I am worth something now. For wheat is wheat, even if people think it's grass in the beginning." End quote. The story of Vincent van Gogh is of course longer and more detailed, especially if we focused more on his romantic endeavors, but if we did that, this video would end up being too long. I recommend reading books and autobiographies made about Vincent van Gogh's life if you want a more detailed look on his personal relationship or even his mental health struggles. He's one of the most archived artists of the 19th century because of the immense amount of letters he exchanged with his brother. Regardless, one thing is for certain, Vincent van Gogh has had an explosive life with many failures. To cope with his struggles, he poured his heart into his canvas. He truly wanted people to appreciate his art, and though people didn't understand the beauty of them while he was still alive, they sure do now. Quote, "The only time I feel alive is when I'm painting." End quote. He was a true artist through and through, even if he was unable to sell more than one painting in his lifetime. I know the tortured artist myth has been heavily attached to Van Gogh, which is why I'll be making a part 2 to this video, where I dissect and explore that topic even deeper. Make sure you have your notifications on for that video. Thank you to my lovely patrons and channel members for continuing to support my content. Thank you to Darcy Rawlings, Nat, Dianara Sergus, Jamisa Walker, Celine Bede, Seiji Hito, Life on Mars, Hat, Salem Smith, Inola, Neptune, Adrian Charles Cohn, Sammy Specials, Nico D'Angelo, Chainsaw 134, Jillian, JJ, Adam Quentin Colley, Sebastian Lurkin, Ghoul Wrangler, Isabella, JD Chinks, Vic Aprantes, Ashley V, Lady Kimono, Jiraiya Sin, Jasmine Donald, Be Spooked, Lil Artsy Savage, Ash Witzel, Bunny Boy, Garrett, Black Wolf 275, Split into 2, Harriet Rose, Paige, Lady Kimono, and Queen Pritters Creates. Thank you all so much for your continuous support. What did you think about Van Gogh's life? What did you think about this video? Let me know in the comments.